Hello, my name is Mary Ellen Stevens and I'm with Gulfport School District. I teach 7th grade science and today I'm going to be talking to y'all about atoms and working our way into the atomic theory. So, if you could take out a piece of paper and I want you to rip it in half. Pick up one of the halves and rip it in half again. And then I want you to repeat the process until you can no longer rip your paper anymore. Once you've done that, do you think you have reached the part of the paper that is no longer paper since it's so small? So the answer would be no. Obviously, you still have paper because we know from previous lessons and previous years that paper is made up of several different things. So, what is an atom? Matter first is going to be what makes up everything. Anything that has mass and takes up space. All matter is made up of atoms. So, since matter is everything that takes up space and all matter is made of atoms, everything is made up of atoms. Atoms are going to be the smallest basic unit of an element. They're going to make up almost everything around you. Each atom is going to consist of 3 subatomic particles. The first subatomic particle is a proton. A proton is going to have a positive charge. A neutron, which is going to have neutral charge or no charge, and an electron that is going to have a negative charge. Here we have a diagram that's going to show us what it looks like on a model of an atom. So here in the center is where you're going to find your protons that are positive and your neutrons that have no charge. Outside on these energy rings or electron cloud is where you're going to find your electrons. The nucleus is this everything that makes up the center, which is your positive protons and your neutral neutrons. The nucleus itself does not have a charge. Since atoms are so small, scientists had to create its own unit of measurement because there was no unit of measurement you could weigh the mass of an atom. So what scientists did was they came up with the atomic mass unit, or AMU. Protons are going to be 1 AMU. Neutrons are going to be 1 AMU. And electrons are so small that 1,800 of them could fit into 1 proton. So we say that they do not have mass. We're going to say that they have 0 AMU, when in all reality, they would have 1 in 1,800 AMU. All right, checkpoint number 1. Let's identify each subatomic particle with its charge. First, I have a proton. Remember, I said protons are positive. Neutrons. Neutrons are those neutral, no charge, so they have no charge. And electrons. Electrons are negative. All right, so let's talk about a few characteristics of atoms. Since protons and neutrons have about equal mass, they're what make up the majority of the mass of the atom. The electrons are much smaller, so they do not really make up any of the mass. The atomic number of an atom is going to be the number of protons in the nucleus of that specific atom. This number can identify what element the atom represents. So, for example, oxygen has 8 protons. So oxygen is going to have an atomic number of 8. Each atom of a particular element is going to have the same number of protons. Neutrons vary. If you have 12 oxygen atoms, each one of those atoms are going to have 8 protons. Isotopes are atoms with the same number of protons, but different number of neutrons. Isotopes are atoms that also are going to have a different mass. Since neutrons make up half of the mass, the mass would have to change if the neutrons changed. To identify an isotope, you can use its mass number. The atomic mass is the sum of the protons and neutrons in an atom. The electron cloud, where you find electrons, is the surrounding area around the nucleus of an atom. So that's where all of your electrons are going to be held and contained. Scientists have not yet found a way to predict the position of an electron in each atom. There are only some guesses. So the cloud represents where they're most likely going to be found. An electron that has gained or lost an electron is referred to as an ion. So how can we identify an isotope? We identify an isotope by looking at the number of neutrons in an atom or looking at the atomic mass. What I want you to remember is atoms make up everything. Atoms are the smallest, most basic units of matter, and they have 3 subatomic particles, that positive proton, that neutral neutron, and a negative electron.